Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. On this channel, our goal is to get you in the group of people that actually make money. Over 90% of everyone investing in crypto lose money. We want to change that. Therefore, I do my deep dives for me and I share what I uncover. And I don't always tell you what you want to hear, but I tell you what you need to hear to make informed decisions. Now, no matter what, guys, this crypto cycle is different. I don't think it's debatable. Now, how it plays out in the charts, we'll see. I'm still extremely bullish, but I really believe this is probably the last altcoin season that, as we know it, that just dumb money, me and you, retail, coming in, buying any top 100 token and making life-changing gains. I think that's going to be over for sure. But this tech is changing the world. But I think people have talked about this tech like it's going to be these projects changing the world. The tech is going to be used. Like if you believe, like the SEC said, that XRP is not a stock, it's a commodity, well, I think you need to start investing like they're commodities and understanding that their utility does have a value, but it tops out. They are not stocks. The value in 99% of the tokens don't accrue into the token holder. It's pure speculation. And at some point, the projects are going to have to start making money like Hyperliquid or Solana that actually feed back into the ecosystem. Like most of the Dino tokens like XLM, Algo, HBAR, XRP, they don't even make enough money a year to pay a top developer. I really don't believe they have a future as an investment. That being said, something like HBAR could literally be one of the most important technologies out there. Wall Street loves building on Hedera. And if Hedera had like an XRP army, there's no telling how high HBAR could go. That being said, when you hear IBM and Google and all these massive companies building out on HBAR could stay at, say, $1. If it can get to $1, it could even stay at 10 cents and still be one of the top projects out there. It doesn't mean that it's a good investment. And that's where we're going to kind of go in this video. We're going to talk about where the next big money is going to flow. Now, I could be wrong, but I believe we are going to have an altcoin season. You need to take profits. And in the next cycle and in the next bear, what you're going to see is Wall Street and the legacy banks and the government take over crypto. They're already in the process of doing it, but people don't talk about it because the influencers don't tell you or don't even research the competition. But guys, the regulation is here. And now you're going to see the biggest companies in the world roll out their own blockchains. Most of them are not going to have a token. They're going to be private, and they are going to use some of the rails of the public systems, but the money, the bulk of the money and the value is going to be in the stocks and in the companies that are using this tech. And I'm going to explain that to you and prove it to you as we go. And guys, the reason I harp on these type videos is no one else wants to do the research of the competition. It would be easy to think that the ISO tokens are going to take over Swift unless you research what Swift's roadmap is. And Swift doesn't need any of those ISO tokens at all. They need Swift. So the bulk of the value is going to be in the value of Swift. And I wish they would go public. But just to let you know, before we dive into all these companies I want to talk about, and to give you a reference, JP Morgan dominates banking, payments, and the flow of money. There's no disputing that. They're the most powerful bank in the world, period. And they do between like 11 and 16 trillion a day moving money around the world. Well, think about that. If you add up all the money that all the Dino tokens that I just mentioned together, how much they move in their since they've been in existence, it's not what JP Morgan does in a day. They're not going to catch them. They're not going to surpass them. But when it comes to Swift, JP Morgan is Swift's biggest partner. It's their biggest customer. Guess what? JP Morgan is ISO 222 compliant. And guess what else? They have instant settlement. And when it comes to FedNow, and people talk about, oh, all the money's going to run on XRP rails. Well, guess who owns 33% of the Fed? JP Morgan. So think about it, guys. They're not going to lose any market share. And actually, they are already gaining market share. They have their own ledger. They have their own powerful blockchain. And Swift has a roadmap to add all this new tech. And they have all the customers. And yes, maybe the ISO tokens get a little piece of the pie, but that's it. And guys, don't take my word for it. Do some research. Go to Swift and go to JP Morgan, go to Goldman Sachs, go to Visa. Visa just bought a blockchain. Guys, they got all the money. They're offering stable coins. I could go on and on. Wall Street is already dominating the profits of crypto, and the speculation is going to go away. All right, let's dive into what I'm talking about. Now, Circle brought this to the public eye. Circle is a powerhouse, right? And there's a lot of lies and misinformation going on about, I remember when they said Ripple's going to buy Circle. That was a straight up lie, according to Brad. They never offered it. And if anything, Circle should have bought Ripple. But anyway, Circle has its own rails. It has an infrastructure to get rid of the bridge assets. But the point I'm trying to make is they are now valued at like $60 billion, and the stock is doing immensely well. Well, now Wall Street says, hey, let's buy these companies that are innovating using the tech. Guys, if they're commodities, it's like a builder growing trees and creating 2x4s, taking those 2x4s and then building houses and making all the money, right? That's what this tech does, right? Guys, it reminds me of 2000.com. I'm old enough to be around. It's deja vu. You had all these promises, all these companies that exploded, and then in a day, it really seemed like in a day, they all disappeared. And we did end up with Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, and companies like that. But 99% of them disappeared. That's going to be the same thing that happens in crypto projects. But the tech may remain. But think about it, guys. If people tell you this tech is so valuable that it doesn't have a top, well, they're lying to you and they don't understand, because think about it. Blockchain doesn't work without electricity. Blockchain doesn't work without Wi-Fi, or maybe satellite Wi-Fi. But why aren't those companies 1,000x more important? Because a power line has a limited upside, right? We all have electricity to our home. We all have Wi-Fi in our house. Why aren't those the most powerful, dominant companies in the world? Why would a payment company that relies on all that be more valuable? Does that make sense? But anyway, what they've done is kicked off, a whole new IPO powerhouse. And guys, most of them, you have to be an accredited investor. In my very first video, I said that the banks, the legacy banks, Wall Street, the U.S. government, primarily the the governments, but primarily the U.S. government, pick winners and losers. And that's true, guys. And they're going to pick the infrastructure where they make the most money. They're only going to use the retail rails when they need to, maybe certain corridors that don't make sense and things like that. But the bulk of everything is still going to be dominated by the JP Morgans, the Visas, the Goldman Sachs, the Swifts of the world. There's not going to be any of these small little companies jump up and knock off the most dominant companies in the world. Guys, it's just software and code. Everything is open source. Coinbase is a perfect example. Look at Base, no token to buy. You want to invest you have to invest in Coinbase. You have to buy the stock. That's where this is going. Same with Circle. Circle makes more money you can't imagine. I should have threw in the new blockchain that USDT is backing. It's going to be a powerhouse, and it might hurt Tron and Solana and Ethereum, where all the stable coins are right now. They're building their own blockchain where you don't have to use a bridge. You don't have to go into their ecosystem or anything. Everything is changing. But look at this, bullish. That's an example. R3 Corda, guys, when I do my research, R3 Corda is every bit as important or powerful than Ripple. It just doesn't have an army. If it goes public, I'm going to buy. And we're going to talk about XRP toward the end and Ripple going public. Uphold's probably going public. Gemini's probably going public. I already said R3 Corda. Kraken's probably going public. And guys, here's another example. CoreWeave. Most people have never heard of them, but they just went public. Guess what they are? They are AI Web3 decentralized cloud storage. So the reason that's so important is we all say, oh, well, look at ICPs, for example, not harping, guys, just giving you the reality. Wall Street, like NVIDIA, is behind this company, right? They don't need ICP. They don't need to invest in a token. They don't need any of that. They're creating their own. It's just tech. You can clone it. You can imitate it, whatever. That's the future. But the good news is, hopefully we make a ton of money in this altcoin season and you can buy some of these stocks. Now, the reason I threw this in, this article talks about how Circle dropped, even though I think it's going to go straight back up. It shows the manipulation. Guys, you have to understand this. There's nothing fair about anything in crypto, stocks, real estate, whatever. Nothing. No one wants you to make money. Everyone wants to take your money. Every company, every foundation wants to use you as exit liquidity, no matter what. So don't think you're part of a tribe. That tribe, think about it, guys. If someone makes money, someone loses money. If we're all in one ecosystem, pick your favorite token. 90% are going to have to lose money for you to make life-changing gains. And then we got to outsource, we got to beat the dumping from the foundations and the companies, right? So keep that in mind, guys. The game is rigged and it's always going to be rigged no matter what anyone tells you. Buying Bitcoin and holding it forever is about the closest thing to a fair shake you're ever going to get. And they're going to take it so high that that's not going to be a fair shake before long. All right, look at this. And it's another example of why I'm making this video. JP Morgan-backed software startup company Codat. Guys, no one knows, and look who else. PayPal Ventures, Shopify, Canopy, or whatever that is. Guys, the reason I mention this, people have never heard of Codat, but you've heard of Quant. Quant has a token, and supposedly Quant's going to take over the world for interoperability. Well, guess who is the number one company out there that does exactly what Quant does and has 82% market share. They are dominant in the interoperability. Guys, it's just software and code. There's nothing special about Quant. Quant used to be one of my favorite bags. Thank goodness I sold a long time ago. I did okay with it. But you'll hear people say it's going to 10,000 and it's going to be a lot, the future. No, it's not, guys. This does the exact same thing. And think about it, guys. They took Quant's market share. Quant was doing extremely well, like on the level of Link, and it has backtracked. I don't think it has a future at all, because why does Wall Street want to even get involved in crypto when the software does everything and they don't have to worry about regulation and they can just pay accordingly? That's the future for the majority of this tech. And again, guys, not insulting XRP, not insulting ICP, not insulting Quant. But if you don't know the players in the game, you're going to probably hodl and make some really bad decisions. And hey, if you do some research, go study Codat. Go study what JP Morgan. Go to Swift's website and look at all the companies that have instant settlement already working with Swift with their messaging. Then you'll say, oh shit, I've been lied to. I didn't understand what ICO was, right? Or ISO. Guys, ISO, like for Quant and Link and XRP, it's like getting a real estate license. Doesn't even mean you're going to sell a house. But to sell a house, you have to have the license. All the banks, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Bank of America, they're all ISO 222 compliant. You have to even enter the game. Doesn't mean they're going to throw houses at you. Doesn't mean you're going to take over Remax. Now, I tell you who is a powerhouse, and I am going to be investing in the stock at any dips. And I wish I would have already done it. JP Morgan teams up with Coinbase. Guys, Coinbase is already settling, right? When they go, oh, all the money's going to settle with XRP. Guys, Coinbase has already settled $9 trillion in one day. Coinbase is a powerhouse. They are the biggest threat to a JP Morgan because now they have, they're going to have all the instant settlement. They're going to have the liquidity pools. They have the custody. See, JP Morgan is not doing custody. They probably will, but they're using Coinbase. They are creating, the powerhouse for all the stable coins. So they're going to be somewhere between a fintech, a crypto exchange, and a bank. That's the future, guys. People don't understand exactly the what's happening, and that's why I research so much. It's almost impossible to keep up. But guys, most people are harping on stuff that is 5 years ago. A lot of this tech is already obsolete. Like I believe Link may be obsolete. Same with Quant. Same with bridging assets. No one wants to bridge. We'll see how it all plays out. And I think Link does have a future for the next couple of years. But as an investment, I don't know. Bridge tokens, right, like XRP, well, Circle is already dominating stable coins. So is Tether. And they're already trying to work out how to keep that internally in an infrastructure. Because, guys, every time you move a token, there's a risk. No one wants that. And no one wants decentralization. No one. They're going to have decentralization once they take your payment, for example. Like, think about this, guys. No one, now maybe when I'm past in 25 years from now, these young kids are doing it, but no one wants to take a smart contract, say the deed of their house, put it in a smart contract, and someone send them $1 million decentralized. They don't want it. Are you going to hit that button? And if you screw up, there's no help. That's not the future. Now, what is going to happen is like Galaxy Digital, I believe it is, they have their own ledger. They have atomic settlement. So me and you could do what I just said, but we do it on their rails, just like the checkout at Walmart. But if something goes wrong, they're insured up to like $1 billion. But the future is not people sending billions of dollars around the world. I mean, everyone has their limit, right? Some people may send $10, $1,000, 10,000, but when it comes to their life savings, most people say, heck no, that is not the future. The send might be decentralized on somebody's rails, but that will be private and permission. The retail is not where the bulk of the money, like when they say, oh, all the money's going to run on XRP rails. That's impossible. No one wants to run on those rails, period, because it's scary. You can get hacked. It's a risk. I don't think it's the future. I know I got off on a tangent, but look at this, guys. JP Morgan is looking to launch or I think they've already launched their own digital, it's not a stable coin. It's a, what is it? Let's see. It's a deposit token. Now think about it. I'm not saying that's the future because I think stable coins is, but when it comes to all the profits and the money and the bulk of the energy of crypto, see, think about it. If you use JP Morgan and you have a choice and you say, well, transfer my money out. Well, what do you want to use? You want to use USDC, USDT, or you want to use our deposit token? Well, we guarantee our deposit token up to, say, $1 billion, backed by the full faith of JP Morgan. Our USDC is backed by the full faith of, say, a bank or whoever's going to back it. Right now, no one's backing it, right? The dollar, but if it crashes, something happened to Circle, who do you trust most? JP Morgan's been around for like, I think 200 years. So who knows what the future is going to look like? But guys, what I know is close to a fact is 99% of all these tokens are going to disappear because they're just not needed. If they're a utility token or if they're a commodity, you're going to take that tech and put it to work. That's where the money is, right? The bizarre things is not where the money is. Now, let's talk about if Ripple goes public. I truly believe, and I will want to get in on that, I truly believe Ripple can be a Fortune 100 corporation, which is saying something, right? I don't think they're going to take over the world. I don't think they're going to even be in the conversation with the JP Morgans and the Goldman Sachs of the world, period. I don't see them being that dominant, at least not for, say, the next 20 years. But they could be $100 billion company. And that would put them in like I don't know if they're going to put them in the NASDAQ or the S&P, but that would be a top 100 company. And it would be a hell of an investment. Now, what would that do to XRP? Well, let's think about something, guys. The value is not from water, right? XRP is just a utility token. It's like water. It's like lumber. It accrues into the company. And I would believe that Ripple is just going to keep dumping their XRP and then go public when they don't need all that exit liquidity, right? You know, the reason XRP isn't my biggest bag is I fell for all the BS and the lies and the misinformation, but I wanted to put some real money in, so I did a deep dive to understand Ripple, not XRP. And I realized, wow, XRP was created to just fund Ripple being a powerhouse. And if they need money for new jets, or if they need money to pay their lawyers or to buy a company, they just dump on the XRP community. So guys, the inflation is off the chart. People think the SEC killed Ripple or killed XRP pumps. Well, guys, the supply is more than doubled. So think about that. Since like the SEC case, so if you go look at the market cap, XRP is ripping. There's way more money, people buying XRP in the last 5 years than there was the 5 years before. Way more people. If the market cap and the price matched, XRP should be at about $7, just like HBAR. Add tokenomics. H bar should already be at like $2.50, $3 because that's where the market cap is. Tokenomics matter. And my point about all this is not to harp on these guys, but the value accrues into the person that took the utility and turned it into a service. 75% and growing of Ripple services have nothing to do with XRP. Ripple makes all the money. If you own the stock, you're going to get a piece of that pie. Cryptos are not stocks. Be aware that Wall Street, the banks, the governments are coming to take over crypto. And honestly, guys, they're probably 75% there. The regulation has skyrocketed, right? The projects are coming out so fast. Wait until you see Google coming out. Think about Google, Amazon, Microsoft. They come out. They're going to dominate Web3 cloud storage. It's not going to be ICP. It's not going to be Arweave or any company like that or any blockchain like that. Why would it? They have all the customers. The only reason they don't have the tech is there's no demand or regulation. I'm telling you guys, I know I'm getting on my high horse, but if you want to see the future, go look at what Coinbase did. They created a layer 2 to dominate that whole sector, no token to buy. And I can give you 100 different companies that you have never heard of that are going to dominate real world assets. It's not going to be XRP. It's not going to be Stellar. It's not going to be Algorand. It's going to be the projects that are already out there dominating. No one talks about them because they don't have a token. People don't even know they exist. But guys, there's like 5 or 10 projects a week coming out to either have their own rails or their own blockchain or their own project or whatever. Wall Street's taking over. But the good news is, guys, it's a great opportunity, but it is evolving. And for you hodlers, guys, y'all should do some research because, I read today where a guy left. He said, I didn't buy these ISO tokens for me to make money. I left them to make my grandkids rich. I hate to say it, and I hope I'm wrong. Guys, the odds of those even being valuable or even around are slim and none in, say, 20 years. Why would they? They don't make any money. They're just a mechanism. That's like leaving them, it's like the railroads, right? The railroads used to be valuable. They laid all the rails. The rails aren't valuable. The companies that laid them was valuable, but once they're laid, how much value do they have? Right? Now the tech's here, you use the tech to make services and projects. That's where the money is, right? Companies that built these roads don't make that much money. A road doesn't have but so much value. And quite frankly, guys, when it comes to market cap, tokenomics, most of these projects are just set up to make the founders and the developers rich. The tokenomics are so bad, the supply is so big that the demand is never going to catch it, and there's no reason for even the demand. Most of it's like oil, guys. Oil, how much can oil be worth? If oil went to the moon and we start paying $5 to $10 at the pump, yes, BP would make more money, but guess what? We would all start using electric cars and things like that. They're just commodities. That's how you got to look at them. They're startup companies that are basically commodities with tech. There's nothing special. If any of these projects, I mean any of them, disappeared tomorrow, you wouldn't even know them, right? You wouldn't even know it. It's like the cartels. You get rid of one, you lock up 100, there's 100 back on the streets. Anyway, guys, if you need some help and someone to look at your portfolio, because it's go time, you need to have a game plan. And if you need some, I have a portfolio course that has 17 videos that walks you from A to Z, helping you understand everything you need to do to reach your goals. How to compare these projects, how to dollar cost average in and out, how to get a game plan to take profits, whatever. And then we do a Zoom call where we take a look at your portfolio and answer any questions. It's only $250. I also have a shorting course, which if you watch this channel, guys, 75% of everything I do is shorting. And I can't wait for the bear. I truly believe people that know how to short are going to make more money in the bear market than they did even in altcoin season. And I also have an inner circle. But if you have an interest, reach out and we'll talk about it, and I'll send you some information. I'll leave a link down below and pin it, my email in the comment section. That being said, guys, I can't be more bullish. I really believe we're going to have an altcoin season. I don't think it's going to look like any of the altcoin seasons from the past. I don't think everything's going to rip. I don't think most of them are going to go to new all-time highs, and a lot of people are not going to get their money back. But certain projects are going to keep ripping, and we're starting to see projects separate themselves right now with the Wall Street treasuries. That being said, I really don't have a lot of conviction outside of maybe Bitcoin, maybe, and probably not even Ethereum, for being a good move for a treasury, because Wall Street is not used to that type of volatility. I think Bitcoin is the future, but I can't see someone buying a utility token, no matter how sexy it sounds, and it's going to drop 90% in the bear, and people go, why did I put that on my books? If you're going to use that kind of risk, you might as well just put the dollar on your books. Bitcoin's the only one that really solves the problem. And I'm not sure that even Solana or Ethereum are the future as well. Just something to keep in mind. All right, guys, hopefully you got educated about where stocks are, but I don't see crypto as being that good of investment in the next 5 years over like these IPOs. That's where it looks like it's going for me. All right, guys. And remember this, 90% of all tokens never hit a new all-time high in its second bull run. Take care.